Marked beginnings. Sophia Chen traced her finger along the cherry blossom branch that curved around her forearm, each petal a memory of her grandmother who had raised her after her parents' accident. The tattoo was her newest addition, joining the constellation on her shoulder blade, the poem in delicate script along her ribcage, and the watercolor phoenix rising from her ankle. Ready for battle? Noah Wright appeared in their bedroom doorway, his warm smile not quite reaching his eyes. He adjusted his navy blazer, the one Sophia had picked out for him last Christmas. "It's just dinner, not war," Sophia replied, smoothing her emerald dress over her hips. Though her voice was light, her stomach tightened with familiar dread. Dinner with Diana Wright was always a minefield of judgment and thinly veiled criticisms. Noah crossed the room and wrapped his arms around her waist. "Mom's just traditional. She'll come around eventually." Sophia leaned into his embrace, breathing in his sandalwood cologne. "We've been married for 18 months. How much more eventually does she need?" Their relationship had been a whirlwind, meeting at an art gallery opening where Sophia was showcasing her photography, engaged 6 months later, and married in a garden ceremony that Diana had deemed unconventional. Noah, a software engineer with creative sensibilities hidden beneath corporate attire, had fallen for Sophia's vibrant spirit and artistic soul. His mother, however, had envisioned him with someone more suitable, preferably a lawyer or doctor without colorful ink adorning their skin. The Wright family home stood imposing against the twilight sky, a colonial masterpiece that Diana maintained with military precision. Sophia's hand instinctively moved to cover her tattooed forearm, but she caught herself and lowered it. She wouldn't hide who she was, not anymore. "There you are." Diana's voice rang through the foyer as they entered. Her blonde hair was pulled into an immaculate chignon, pearl earrings catching the light. "And only 15 minutes late this time." Noah kissed his mother's cheek. "Traffic, Mom. You look lovely." Diana's eyes flicked to Sophia, lingering on her exposed tattoos before offering a tight smile. "Sophia, I see you've added more artwork." "The cherry blossoms are for my grandmother," Sophia explained, though she'd stopped expecting Diana to show interest in the meanings behind her tattoos long ago. Dinner progressed with painful slowness. Diana's brother Richard and his wife Patricia had joined them, along with Noah's younger sister Emma, who shot sympathetic glances at Sophia throughout the meal. "So Noah tells us you've opened your own photography studio," Richard said, mercifully breaking a silence that had stretched too long. Sophia brightened. "Yes, downtown in the Arts District. The grand opening is next month." "How enterprising," Diana commented, cutting her roast beef with surgical precision. "Though I wonder if your clientele might be limited by your appearance?" Noah set down his fork. "Mom, I'm merely suggesting that in professional settings, certain aesthetics can be a deterrent." Diana gestured vaguely toward Sophia. "Permanent body modifications send a particular message." "And what message would that be?" Sophia asked quietly. "Impulsiveness, rebellion." Diana sipped her wine. "Not qualities most people seek in a business they're entrusting with their precious memories." The table fell silent. Emma stared at her plate while Patricia shifted uncomfortably. "Actually," Sophia said, her voice steady despite the burning in her chest, "my waiting list is already 2 months long. My clients appreciate authenticity." Diana's smile was razor thin. "Well, I suppose there's a market for everything these days, though I do wonder what will happen when you have children." "What kind of example?" "Diana," Richard interrupted, "did I tell you about our new vacation plans?" But the damage was done. Beneath the table, Noah's hand found Sophia's, squeezing gently. But it wasn't enough. For 18 months, Sophia had endured Diana's cutting remarks, had tried to be understanding of her traditional values. But this felt different. This was about her future, her children, her life. As conversation resumed around them, Sophia felt something shift inside her. The woman who had photographed war zones and scaled mountains for the perfect shot wasn't going to be diminished any longer. There had to be another way, not confrontation, but not submission either. As they drove home in silence, the cherry blossoms on her arm seemed to glow in the dashboard light, reminding her of her grandmother's wisdom. Sometimes the quietest response speaks the loudest truth. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow she would begin to rewrite this story on her own terms. Shadows from the past. Sophia stood in her studio, adjusting the lighting for her upcoming session. The space was her sanctuary, exposed brick walls adorned with her most striking photographs, large windows that bathed the room in natural light, and the subtle scent of lavender from the diffuser in the corner. But today, Diana's words echoed in her mind, casting shadows on her usually bright mood. She unconsciously ran her fingers over the cherry blossom tattoo, seeking comfort in its familiar lines. "Earth to Sophia," a voice called, breaking her reverie. "The lighting looks perfect, but your face says storm clouds." Sophia turned to find her assistant Maya, watching her with concerned eyes. "Just thinking about last night's dinner with the in-laws. Nothing new." "Ah, the Wicked Witch of Westlake strikes again?" Maya handed her a coffee. "What was it this time? Your hair, your career, the fact that you corrupted her precious son?" Sophia smiled despite herself. "My tattoos, and how they'll make me a terrible mother someday." Maya rolled her eyes, as if your ink would somehow seep into your parenting skills. "According to Diana, they're evidence of my impulsiveness and rebellion." Sophia sighed, setting down her coffee. "Maybe I should just—" The studio door chimed, cutting her off. Sophia turned, expecting her first client, but instead found herself staring into hazel eyes she hadn't seen in 5 years. "Liam?" she whispered, momentarily frozen. Liam Matthews stood in her doorway, taller than she remembered, his dark hair now flecked with silver at the temples. The boyish grin that had gotten them both into trouble throughout their teen years was the same, though, as was the camera bag slung over his shoulder. "Surprise," he said, spreading his arms wide. "Your mom said I'd find you here." Sophia crossed the room and fell into his embrace. Memories flooding back, late nights developing photos in her parents' makeshift darkroom, Liam holding her hand at her parents' funeral, their tearful goodbye when his photojournalism career took him overseas. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" she asked, pulling back to look at him. "Would have ruined the surprise." His eyes traveled over her face, then down to the tattoos on her arms. "You finally got that cherry blossom piece you always talked about." Maya cleared her throat behind them. "I'll reschedule your morning appointments, shall I?" An hour later, Sophia and Liam sat at a corner table in the cafe next door, catching up over cappuccinos. Liam had spent the last 5 years documenting conflicts across the Middle East and Southeast Asia, his photos earning him recognition and awards. "But I'm tired, Soph," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "Tired of capturing everyone else's stories. I want to come home, maybe start a series on American life. Is that why you're here? Scouting locations?" "Partly." Something flickered in his eyes. "I also wanted to see you. Your mom mentioned you got married." Sophia twisted her wedding ring. "Noah. He's wonderful. A software engineer. Steady. Kind." "Sounds perfect," Liam said, though something in his tone suggested otherwise. "He is." Sophia paused. "His mother, however." She found herself pouring out the story of last night's dinner, Diana's comments, and the 18 months of subtle disapproval. Liam listened intently, his photographer's eyes observing the pain behind her smile. When she finished, he reached across the table and took her hand, his thumb brushing over her knuckles. "Remember what we used to say in high school? Their criticism is just fear of your freedom." Sophia laughed. "We thought we were so profound." "We were right, though." His hand lingered on hers a moment too long before he pulled away. "So what are you going to do about the dragon lady?" Before she could answer, her phone buzzed with Noah's name on the screen. "Hey," she answered, aware of Liam's eyes on her. "Hi, love," Noah said, his voice tight. "My mother just called. Apparently, she wants to have us over for tea this Sunday. Just you and her." Sophia's stomach dropped. "Just us? Why?" "She says she wants to clear the air. I told her I'd ask you." Sophia glanced at Liam, who was pretending not to listen. An idea began forming in her mind. Not confrontation, not submission, but something else entirely. "Tell her yes," Sophia said decisively. I'll be there. After hanging up, she turned to Liam. I need your help with a project. That evening, Sophia arrived home to find Noah in their kitchen, attempting to cook dinner. Smoke billowed from a pan, and he was frantically waving a towel at the smoke detector. I wanted to surprise you, he explained sheepishly as she took over, salvaging what appeared to be stir-fry. Bad day? Actually, no. Sophia stirred the vegetables, debating how much to share. Liam's in town. Noah's movements stilled. Your friend from high school? The one who went overseas. Canvas of truth. Diana Wright's house was silent as a museum when Sophia arrived on Sunday afternoon. She stood on the porch, clutching a leather portfolio to her chest like armor. A deep breath steadied her nerves before she rang the doorbell. Diana appeared in a powder blue sweater set, pearls gleaming at her throat. Her eyes immediately went to the portfolio, curiosity momentarily overriding her usual reserve. Sophia, she greeted, stepping aside. You're punctual today. Thank you for inviting me, Diana. Sophia followed her mother-in-law into the immaculate living room, where tea was already set out on the coffee table. They sat in uncomfortable silence as Diana poured Earl Grey into fine china cups. Sophia noticed her hands trembling slightly, a hairline crack in her perfect facade. I believe I owe you an apology, Diana said suddenly, setting down the teapot. My comments at dinner were inappropriate. Sophia blinked in surprise. Thank you for saying that. However, Diana continued, stirring sugar into her tea, I hope you understand my concerns come from a place of caring. Noah's future is with me, Sophia finished gently, and I'd like you to know who that is, beyond what you see on my skin. She opened the portfolio and placed a photograph on the table between them. It showed a constellation tattoo on her shoulder blade, the stars of Cassiopeia gleaming against her skin. My parents died when I was 16, Sophia explained, her voice steady. This was my first tattoo at 18. My mother used to tell me that when people we love die, they become stars watching over us. Diana's eyes flickered between the photograph and Sophia's face. Sophia placed another image beside the first, the script along her ribcage. This poem was my father's favorite. He recited it at their wedding, and again on their last anniversary before the accident. One by one, she laid out photographs that Liam had taken over the past few days, close-ups of each tattoo paired with images that told their stories, her grandmother's garden of cherry trees, her parents' wedding day, the homeless shelter where she'd volunteered after college that inspired the phoenix on her ankle. These aren't impulses or rebellions, Sophia said quietly. They're chapters in my life, reminders of who I am and where I've come from. Diana sat very still, her tea forgotten. Why are you showing me these? Because I love your son and he loves you. I don't need your approval, Diana, but I'd like your understanding. Sophia met her eyes directly. And because someday I hope to tell my children these stories, your grandchildren, and I want them to know their grandmother too. Something shifted in Diana's expression. Not quite acceptance, but a crack in the wall between them. Noah mentioned you were a photographer, but he never said you were this talented, Diana said finally, touching the edge of one image. Actually, my friend Liam took these. Sophia hesitated. He's a photojournalist who's documented wars and refugee crises. He sees the truth in people. And what truth does he see in you? Diana asked, unexpectedly perceptive. The question caught Sophia off guard. What did Liam see when he looked at her through his lens? The way his eyes had lingered on her, filled with unspoken history, had stirred something she'd tried to forget. He sees someone who doesn't hide her scars, she answered carefully. Their conversation was interrupted by the doorbell. Diana frowned. I wasn't expecting anyone else. She returned moments later with Noah, his expression a mixture of concern and determination. I couldn't let you face this alone, he whispered, taking Sophia's hand. Diana observed their joined hands, then looked at the photograph spread across her coffee table. Your wife has been educating me about her artwork. Mom, did you know, Diana interrupted, that I nearly got a tattoo once? Both Noah and Sophia stared at her in disbelief. After your father and I got engaged, Diana continued, absently touching her left wrist. His initials right here. My mother threatened to disown me. Noah's jaw dropped. You never told me that. There are many things you don't know about me, Noah. Diana's voice held a note of sadness. We all have our stories. As they drove home later, Sophia leaned against Noah's shoulder, emotionally drained but hopeful. Do you think anything will change? Noah kissed the top of her head. You cracked her armor today. That's more than anyone's done in decades. That night, Sophia's phone buzzed with a text from Liam. How did Operation Dragon Lady go? She smiled, typing back, better than expected. Thanks for your help. His response came quickly. Drinks tomorrow to celebrate? I have news. Sophia hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen. There was history there, unfinished, complicated. Before Noah, there had been possibilities with Liam, roads not taken when his career had pulled him overseas. Sure, she replied finally. The usual place at 7. As she set down her phone, Noah emerged from the shower, water droplets glistening on his chest. He looked at her curiously. Everything okay? Just Liam, she said, trying to sound casual. He wants to meet for drinks tomorrow. Says he has news. Noah nodded, though something flickered behind his eyes. You should go. Sounds important. You could come too, she offered. Client meeting. Noah slid into bed beside her. Besides, he's your friend. Friend. The word seemed insufficient for what Liam had been. Confidant, partner in creative crime, the person who had held her together after her parents died, who had taught her to see beauty in brokenness. As Noah's breathing deepened into sleep beside her, Sophia stared at the ceiling, wondering what news Liam wanted to share, and why the thought of seeing him alone made her heart beat faster. Diana's question echoed in her mind. What truth does he see in you? More troubling still was the question she couldn't bring herself to ask. What truth did she see in herself when she looked through Liam's eyes? Breaking patterns. The bar was dimly lit, jazz playing softly in the background. Sophia arrived 5 minutes early, sliding into their old booth, the one where she and Liam had celebrated her first photography award years ago. The familiar surroundings brought a wave of nostalgia that both comforted and unsettled her. Some things never change, Liam said, appearing beside the table with 2 glasses of whiskey. You still get that little wrinkle between your eyebrows when you're overthinking. Sophia accepted the drink, their fingers brushing momentarily. And you still think you can read my mind? Can't I? His smile was warm as he sat across from her. You're wondering if coming here was a mistake. She laughed despite herself. Fine, you win. How was your day? Productive. Liam pulled out his camera, scrolling through images on the display. I've been shooting a series downtown, Faces of the City. But that's not my news. Sophia sipped her whiskey, waiting. I've been offered a teaching position at Westlake Art Institute, he said, watching her reaction. Starting next semester. Photojournalism and documentary photography. Liam, that's incredible. Sophia's genuine excitement bubbled through her caution. You'd be amazing as a professor. I'd be staying, he clarified, his eyes holding hers. Permanently. The implication hung between them, heavy with possibility. Before she could respond, her phone rang, Noah's ringtone. Sorry, she murmured, answering quickly. Hey, what's... Noah's voice cut her off, tight with tension. It's my mom. She's in the hospital. Heart attack. The world seemed to tilt. Which hospital? I'll meet you there. Memorial. East Wing. Noah's voice cracked. Hurry. Sophia ended the call, already gathering her things. Diana's had a heart attack. I have to go. Without hesitation, Liam stood. I'll drive you. The hospital corridors were a blur as Sophia rushed toward the waiting room, Liam close behind. She found Noah pacing, his face ashen. She's in surgery, he said as Sophia embraced him. They're doing an angioplasty. Dad's with her? His eyes registered Liam's presence, a flicker of something, hurt, confusion, crossing his features. Noah, this is Liam, Sophia explained quickly. He drove me here. The men exchanged tense nods as a doctor approached, clipboard in hand. Mrs. Wright is stable, he informed them. The procedure was successful, but she'll need to stay for observation and make some significant lifestyle changes. Relief washed over Noah's face. Can we see her? Family only for now, the doctor replied, glancing at Sophia and Liam. She's my wife, Noah said firmly, taking Sophia's hand. She's family. Sophia squeezed his hand gratefully. You go first. I'll wait here. As Noah followed the doctor, Sophia turned to Liam. Thank you for driving me, but you don't have to stay. I want to, he said simply. Unless you'd rather I go. Before she could answer, Noah's father emerged from down the hall, looking older than his 60 years. His eyes landed on Sophia with an unreadable expression. Robert, she greeted, moving toward him. How are you holding up? She was asking for you, he said, surprising her. Both of you. She wants to talk to you and Noah together. Confusion flickered across Sophia's face. Me? But you should go. Robert glanced at Liam. Your friend can wait with me. Liam nodded, squeezing Sophia's shoulder reassuringly. Diana lay against white pillows, tubes and wires connecting her to beeping machines. Without her perfect makeup and styled hair, she looked smaller, more vulnerable. Noah sat beside her, holding her hand. Sophia, Diana said weakly. Come here. Hesitantly, Sophia approached the bed, standing beside Noah. Life is... Diana paused, gathering strength. Life is too short for walls between family. Beautiful imperfections. 3 months later, Sophia stood in Westlake Art Institute's gallery, surrounded by her photography displayed alongside works from other local artists. The exhibition, curated by Liam for his inaugural faculty showcase, had drawn an impressive crowd for opening night. Your series is the highlight of the show, Liam said, appearing beside her with 2 champagne flutes. He looked different now, more professor than war photographer in his blazer and button-down. Sophia accepted the champagne, surveying the room. I still can't believe you convinced me to display those. The photographs in question formed a series titled Beneath the Ink, intimate portraits of tattooed individuals paired with images that told the stories behind their body art. The centerpiece was a triptych of Diana, her bare wrist where the tattoo might have been, her hands painting at an easel, and her face in profile, eyes closed in peaceful concentration. They're powerful, Liam said. Authentic. Speaking of authentic, Sophia nodded toward the entrance where Noah was helping Diana navigate the crowd, her cane occasionally tapping against the polished floor. Diana had made remarkable progress since her heart attack, not just physically but personally. She had taken up painting again after 50 years, converted Robert's old study into a small studio, and even joined a senior art class at the community center. The rigid perfectionism that had defined her for decades was gradually yielding to something more forgiving, both for herself and others. Should we rescue them? Liam asked, watching Noah fielding questions from enthusiastic art patrons, while Diana surveyed the room with thinly veiled impatience. Sophia laughed. Give it another minute. Noah's getting better at handling these events. Since Diana's hospitalization, subtle shifts had occurred in all their relationships. Noah had found his voice with his mother, setting boundaries while supporting her recovery. Sophia and Diana had developed a cautious friendship, founded on their shared love for Noah and newfound appreciation for each other's creative spirits. And Liam had carved out a place in their lives that respected the present while honoring the past. Professor Matthews, a student waved from across the gallery. The dean wants to speak with you about your department budget, Liam groaned. Duty calls. Save me a dance at the after-party? One dance, Sophia agreed. As colleagues. His smile acknowledged the boundary as he disappeared into the crowd. Sophia made her way to Noah and Diana, who were studying a photograph of a veteran with tattoos commemorating fallen comrades. There you are, Noah said warmly, slipping an arm around her waist. Mom was just saying she wants this one for her birthday. Diana tapped the frame with her finger. The composition is extraordinary, the way you've captured both strength and vulnerability. High praise from an artist, Sophia replied. Genuinely touched, a beginner, Diana corrected, though her eyes shone with pleasure at the acknowledgement. As Noah was pulled into conversation with a colleague, Diana turned to Sophia. I received a letter from the hospital today. They're featuring patient recovery stories in their quarterly newsletter and asked if I would share mine. That's wonderful, Sophia said. Will you do it? I thought perhaps, Diana hesitated, perhaps you could photograph me for it. Something that shows the before and after, not just physically, but, she gestured vaguely. The transformation beneath the surface, Sophia finished for her. I'd be honored. A comfortable silence fell between them as they watched the gallery crowd. Diana's next words were so soft, Sophia nearly missed them. I'm sorry it took a heart attack for me to see you clearly. Sophia blinked back unexpected tears. Sometimes we need dramatic wake-up calls. Indeed. Diana's gaze drifted to where Liam stood across the room. And sometimes we need to recognize when a chapter is truly closed. Sophia followed her gaze, understanding the gentle observation. Some people leave footprints on our hearts even when they're no longer walking beside us. Poetic, Diana remarked. You should get that tattooed somewhere. Sophia's startled laugh drew Noah back to their side. What did I miss? Your mother just suggested my next tattoo, Sophia informed him, enjoying his look of confusion. The world truly has turned upside down, he murmured, kissing her temple. Later that night, after Diana had been escorted home by Robert, who had mysteriously appeared toward the end of the exhibition, Sophia and Noah danced at the after-party in the Institute's courtyard. String lights twinkled overhead, casting a soft glow over the celebrating artists and patrons. Have I told you how proud I am? Noah murmured against her hair as they swayed to the music. Not just of your work, but of how you've handled everything with Mom. We both did, Sophia replied. It wasn't easy for you either. Noah spun her gently, then pulled her back against his chest. Worth it, though. Seeing the two most important women in my life actually enjoying each other's company? Priceless. Across the courtyard, Sophia caught sight of Liam dancing with a pretty art history professor, their heads bent close in conversation. He glanced up, meeting Sophia's eyes briefly, and gave her a small nod. Acknowledgement, acceptance, farewell. I think Liam's found his place here, Noah observed, following her gaze. He always was good at making himself at home anywhere, Sophia replied. It's what makes him such a great photographer. He sees the potential in every setting. As the party wound down, they walked hand in hand to their car under a canopy of stars. Sophia paused, looking up at the constellation that matched the one tattooed on her shoulder. What is it? Noah asked, following her gaze. Just thinking about patterns, she said. How some are meant to be broken, and others... She squeezed his hand. Others form the constellations that guide us home. 2 weeks later, Sophia sat in her favorite tattoo artist's chair, Noah beside her holding her hand. You're sure about this? The artist asked, preparing the needle. Absolutely, Noah replied, rolling up his sleeve to reveal his bare forearm. It was a small design, a simple rendering of a cherry blossom branch intertwined with lines of code, positioned to mirror Sophia's own tattoo. His first, carefully chosen and designed together with Sophia over many conversations. Diana's going to have a fit, Sophia teased as the needle buzzed to life. Actually, Noah said with a mysterious smile, Mom helped with the design, Sophia's jaw dropped. You're kidding. She said if her son was finally going to rebel, he should at least do it with artistic integrity. His eyes crinkled with amusement. She's painting again today with her senior art group. Apparently, she's becoming quite popular. As the needle traced the first lines on Noah's skin, Sophia thought about the unexpected journey of the past few months. How Diana's harsh words about her tattoos had sparked a chain reaction that ultimately healed old wounds and created new connections. Later that evening, they sent a photo of Noah's finished tattoo to Diana. Her response came almost immediately. Acceptable aesthetics. Still prefer painting to puncturing. Dinner Sunday? Sophia laughed, showing Noah the message. I think that's as close to approval as we'll ever get. "I'll take it," Noah replied, gently touching his bandaged arm. "Some marks are worth carrying, especially the ones that tell our story." Outside their window, cherry blossom petals drifted on the spring breeze, ephemeral yet enduring in their annual return. Like the ink on their skin, like the bonds between them, like the patterns they chose to keep and those they dared to break, beautiful in their imperfection, meaningful in their permanence. Sophia traced her finger along her newest tattoo, a small quote on her wrist that read, "Some people leave footprints on our hearts even when they're no longer walking beside us." It honored her parents, her grandmother, and the paths not taken that had still shaped who she had become. Life would continue to leave its marks on all of them. Diana with her new artistic passion, Noah balancing family legacy with personal choice, Sophia capturing stories through her lens. And with each new mark, each new challenge, they would have the choice to resist or to transform, to see beyond surface judgments to the deeper stories beneath. As they fell asleep that night, their tattooed arms intertwined, Sophia thought that perhaps that was the greatest art of all, finding beauty not in perfection, but in the authentic journey of becoming exactly who you were meant to be, ink and all.